arrived at Dunwich Beach. Now I'm going to do a few hours fishing just to the few hundred yards to the right of the cafe and car park, and this is my view for the rest of this afternoon and part of this evening. Right, just starting out with the first cast of the day. Just got on a simple 2-hook flapper with lugworms on each, and both got Cox and Roll size 2 hooks on. Only small because I want to just see if I can find out whether they're flatfish or whatever's about. Now I've also added to this long tail weight that I'm using a lead lifter, because I have always found in the past it's quite snaggy, this Dunwich Beach. So I'm hoping that I've found a spot that isn't snaggy, but if there is, then maybe this lead lifter, we'll see whether it actually helps to avoid the snags. Right, bait today is some lugworm, half a pound of lugworm I got from Southwold. There's some pretty good big ones in there. And then the frozen stuff, I've got some salted frozen ragworm in there, some black lug in there. Let's say these mackerel and squid ones in there. And that bag under there is a bag of crab carp that I brought by mistake. I thought that was some baits made up, but it turns out that's just crab carp. So I'll like take that back home and refreeze that. And then got some mackerel here, and then in here I've got some old squid heads and bits of whiting and bits of mackerel that I can just use for tipping baits. So that's today's bait. Not a bad lot, so let's hopefully we catch some fish with it. Right, let's get this first rod out. The second rod, it's got an up and over with a squid stuffed with mackerel. Again, put a lead lifter on that, so hopefully we'll avoid any snags. But time will tell. Right, let's get this first rod in, see what we've got, if anything. I don't think we've caught anything. It's a case of it's a little bit tight to get out, but not too bad. See whether we've got any worms. That lead lifter certainly seems to work. Right, okay, well, lead lifter seems to work. Haven't really got no fish, and there's bits of worms left, so aren't lasting too bad. Can't be too many crabs about, but get this rebaited and back out again. Right, let's get this one out. Right, let's see what we got this time. Just one massive tangle. Right, okay, time for a bait change. Get the lugworm rod in first. There's been one or two little movements on it, but nothing you could definitely say was a bite. I was saying that, it feels as if there's a little bit of weight here, but it might be just caused by that lead lifter, I don't know. No, it looks like it. Just broke surface, I didn't see any fish. No, definitely no fish. So quickly get some more bait on that and get that out again. Been here about an hour. I've only just really got set up. Oh, I had a problem with the beach shelter. I don't know if you've got a beach shelter and the legs where they joined, they're like a D section, and one of them had jammed itself in but sort of 90 degrees out. Oh, I had a hell of a job to get it apart. I thought it happened once before and I ended up having to take it home as it was, so it was really long, and had a hell of a job to fit it in the car, and had to put one of the two legs in a vice to be able to get enough grip on it to twist it and get it out. But I did eventually manage it. Made me sweat a bit, but as far as the fishing goes, both rods have been out, like I say, about an hour. I've changed the bait a couple of times on the lugworm and once with the big bait. One or two little tiny maybe bites, but I think more likely to be crabs on the lugworm. But the big bait, when I brought that back, the wrap that was squid and mackerel that hadn't been touched at all. It was absolutely just as it went out. But I swapped it over and I changed the rig. I did originally put a up and over on, but it came apart mid-flight. I think I'd got the actual snood length slightly wrong, so it wasn't quite tight enough. So anyway, I swapped it for a pulley pennel. So we've got a long pulley pennel out, about 4 or 5 foot pulley pennel out. So instead of the up and over, so there isn't really too much difference. But apart from that, it is warm. I couldn't decide whether the beach shelter, I thought I won't put it up, but then there's some dark clouds about and there's a chance of a shower of rain, and I thought last thing you want, all of a sudden it's raining and everything is getting wet, to then have to put the beach shelter up while it's raining. So we could put it up anyway, but flaming hot under here. I might actually move slightly and not actually sit in the shelter. So that's about it. I haven't had a cup of tea yet, so that is the next important thing to do, is put the kettle on, because I'm parched to say the least. And I keep looking at those rod tops and there's a little bit of movement on them, but that's not sort of fluttery, jerky movement. It's just a bit of, so I don't really know what's quite going on, but we'll leave them out there. I'll make a cup of tea, have that, and then we'll get them in again and see what happens. But that is warm, and hopefully that should be there's not too many people about, so should be a good afternoon. Just depends on whether we catch any fish or not. That's the thing, but we'll see. Right, time for another bait change. Again, nothing. Come here. 4:30. Been here hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that. Don't think I really had a bite yet. Had odd little movements on the rods, but not enough to say it's definitely a bite. And lost one set of tackle. I went to change baits and I was pulling it in and it felt heavy, and I almost felt as if there might be a fish on it. There was some movement, whether it was just sort of slowly bringing it in, not wanting to put too much strain on it. And then I suppose 20-30 yards from the edge of the water, bang, it's absolutely solid. So I tried walking down the breach and pulled it from another direction. And some people were watching me thinking, oh, he's got a fish or whatever. So I was pulling on it, and all of a sudden the line broke, and there was me fell flat on my back. The rod went flying. So felt a bit stupid, but there you go. But lost another set of tackle. So I still haven't found anywhere on Dunwich Beach where you can fish and you don't lose tackle. I don't think I've ever fished here without losing a couple of sets of tackle. So this could be the very last time I bother to fish here now, because unless someone can tell me exactly where you can fish without losing tackle, I aren't going to come again, I don't, because it's a nightmare. But anyway, we'll soldier on. Hopefully something will turn up. We've got, it's like I say, now past 4, about an hour I think till high tide. So we'll see how it goes. Whether that'll change once it goes on the ebb, I don't know. But there doesn't seem to be anything about at the moment. And I haven't seen anyone else fishing. There's one bloke just turned up to my right who's now setting up, but apart from that, no one else fishing. So that sort of says quite a bit that it may not be worth being here, but we'll keep trying and see what we can do. So no fish, one set of tackle lost. Let's hope we don't lose any more. The other thing I do fear is, am I going to get caught in the line that I just lost? Because I lost quite a lot, because I lost all the leader, and obviously it broke on the main line. I assume, looking at the end of the line, probably on where the leader joins, but who knows. But let's hope we don't get any more snags, because I don't like losing tackle, if only because it's pollution, for want of a better word, and you could very well end up with fish hooked on them, and you know, that kills the fish as well, because they then can't get away. But we'll soldier on. I'll get back to you should anything exciting happen. Certainly nothing at the moment. Oh, you bastard. I didn't lose it. As there's absolutely nothing doing with the big rods, I've decided I'm going to have a go with a lure just for something to do, and it's an old Shakespeare ugly stick, and it is old as well, because if you look at that, the Norwich telephone number is only a 5-digit number, 21241, so I hate to think how old this is. But anyway, I've done that and just got a little lure like that I've just stuck on, that's all, just a little cheapie. Just for something to do. You never know, might catch something, but I very much doubt it. Plenty of gulls about, but they're not over the sea hunting for fish, mostly over the land. So don't know quite what's going on. There's been lots of flying ants and spiders and God knows what in the air this afternoon, and forever keep pulling little spiders off the brim of my hat and keep dangling in front of my face. Right, okay, I've tried with 2 rods, flappers and up and overs and all sorts of rigs, had nothing. I've tried with a lure on this rod, had nothing. So I'm trying my mackerel feathers, and I can't believe I'm going to get anything on these either, but well, what have I got to lose? Got to keep trying, got to try and catch something, anything. Last cast blank saver would do. Any cast blank saver would do. Story of the day is no fish, no bites even, as far as I can tell, not a thing. Like I say, no bites. I've had 1 rod with a up and over, then I put a pulley pennel on. I tried squid and mackerel on its own on that, and had none of it actually been touched at all. It just comes back every time as if nothing's touched it. The other rod, I had a 2 hook flappers on to start with, lugworm, nothing on those. So anyway, I went to a 3 hook and put a 2.0 hook on the bottom on a long snood, so I could put big lugworm on, old squid heads, and then on the other 2 hooks on the smaller ones I put lugworm on, and I tipped them off with some squid or with some mackerel. Again, nothing at all, not a sniff of a fish. I had to go with a lure on a little lure rod, well, an Shakespeare ugly stick. I had to go with a lure on that, nothing on that, not that I really expected it. I even stuck some mackerel feathers on and had to go with that, but no, nothing on that either. Again, no, I didn't really expect anything. There was no sign of any mackerel. Don't even know whether you get mackerel around on this part of the coast. So it's all been a complete disaster. My stove has been a pain as well. I haven't been able to always get it to work for some unknown reason. That's the second stove I've had, and this is cost me nearly 50 quid and had exactly the same problem with it. Whether that's the gas canisters, I don't know, but that's a real pain. You turn it on, no gas. No reason. That worked the last time you turned it on. So whether it's the valve sticking, and then I took the gas cylinder off and sort of blew in the top and screwed it back on, and then that worked, but only sort of half pressure, so it wasn't making the kettle boil as quickly as you'd expect. So it's all been a bit of a bad day. Mind you, the weather's been fine, and it's a day out, and I can't really complain about that. So I've sort of enjoyed it in a masochistic sort of way. So unless anything else happens, I'm going to pack up. It's coming up to 8:15. Give it a few more minutes, put the last of the bait on that I've got, and have one last cast, and I'll start packing away. Well, that wasn't exactly the best session of fishing I've had, especially at Dunwich. I've caught plenty of fish there in the past, rays, everything you can sort of think of just about. But that's fishing in the UK in this time of year, I'm afraid. At least I tried everything I could. I tried with both rods, different baits, different rigs. Then I tried feathers, tried lures, tried everything. Different baits, you name it. I tried everything I had with me and couldn't get a thing, not a bite. So, it wasn't the best session, but like I say, the weather was okay. It's nice and warm. No rain, which was good considering the weather that we've had so far in this summer. It's been rain virtually every day, so I avoided that, so that was one good thing. One thing I would like to say, I did lose one set of tackle, and I think I found out why. The next day, when I went to clean down all the rods and everything, there's the top of the rod I've got a photograph of it which I'll put on here, was covered in what looked like clay, and then it's the same all the way down the rod rings, and one of the reel was covered as well. It was absolutely filthy, and you could see it all in the line on the spool as well. So I think there's some patches of clay there would explain how it felt when I was reeling in, because I was reeling in and that was really difficult to reel in, like, you know, you had a really huge lump of weed or something like that on your line. But then all of a sudden it sort of dragged along the bottom and then went solid about, I don't know, 20-30 yards out, something like that, I would think. And I tried pulling it out and just couldn't get out at all, and just the line broke in the end. But it did happen a second time, just the last cast, and luckily that time I was able to just walk down the beach in the opposite direction this time, and I pulled it out. But there was nothing like, there was no hooks weren't straightened, nothing like that. You know, everything was just as it would have been normally if it hadn't been in any sort of snag. So I'd like to say I'm convinced that it was just stuck in some clay, and then for whatever reason either went deeper or just caught the edge of some shingle or something like that and dug in and didn't come out. But you know, I've never had it like that there before, so I think I was just a bit unlucky. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe, hit the notification button, and you'll get a notification when the next film comes out. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back again soon.